I didn't record my audio the first time around, so let's try this again, shall we? Minecraft Realms is a service where Microsoft will host your Minecraft server for you. And it costs money, of course, because running a server is, it takes a lot of uptime, basically. But every Microsoft account with Minecraft has 1 month of free trial. And 2 years ago, a friend of mine and I, we both took this free trial, so we had 2 months of free Minecraft server supported by Microsoft for free among us. And we did some survival, and in survival we also did some combat, but then we thought, you know, we could start a creative world and basically build a bunch of structures that could together serve as our battlefield, and that's what I'd like to show you today. So the first structure is the dilapidated keep, which my friend built. And if we go inside, it's definitely dilapidated. Up here we have a whole bunch of beds. We spammed lots of beds, so we could just set spawn points as we were fighting, you know, should we die, which happened quite often. It provided a good overview of the battlefield, and the vines were also a fun thing to sneak up on players inside the keep. The first thing I built was the sewers, the rundown sewers. This is the entrance to the mines, more about that later. But yeah, as we can see, a whole bunch of stuff is boarded up. We have suspiciously blue sewage, almost like Walter White has been flushing his toilet quite often. We have a hole upstairs, basically a shortcut from the well we just saw in front of the dilapidated keep. And there's a hole in the wall over here. Now this used to be a secret entrance to the tunnel to the wizard towers. However, the tunnel was too long and didn't connect up with anything else, and it just took the flow out of the battle. So I patched it up. And yeah, here we have a piece of wall that's broken through. I would probably decorate this way better right now. Were I to rebuild it. This was 2 years ago after all. And yeah, this was a fun little bottleneck trying to find the current while moving through here. The drop doesn't go anywhere. And we're back here, so it's just a closed loop with another wall that's been broken through. And if we follow it, we get to the entrance of the mines, which is again a closed loop. I'm going to quickly show you. Whole bunch of ores, like this would be a dream in Minecraft. This ladder leads up to the surface again. And if we go down, we see we were standing on a bit of scaffolding, which you could reach from down here. That narrow path leads to the same room as just following this path. And here again we have a whole bunch of ores, wheelbarrows, scaffolding, supports, and nooks and crannies to hide from your enemy. And if we take these steps up, we find we are back at the entrance of the mine. So yeah, one closed loop right next to another closed loop. That is something I tried to make a theme. I wanted stuff that's underground to at least be connected, to have high connectivity, to make sure that the flow of the battle doesn't disappear. And this is another thing I built, sort of inspired by the buildings in Skyrim. Basically a champion's hall with a large signature Skyrim fire pit right in the middle of the room. A whole bunch of beds again. And through the balcony we have access to the roof, from which you can again oversee the territory and snipe effectively. There we have a small smithy. But yeah, what's the next thing I want to show? Yeah, so you could go over the mountain, but you could also go under the mountain through here. And this leads to the sewers, and this leads up to the old well at the keep. But yeah, you can go around it and find yourself at this lake. And from the lake you could sneak up to the keep, or of course go to the wizard's towers. Now again, as I said, there used to be a tunnel that led to the wizard's towers, and that was the only entrance. So I just added this debris and these ruinations so you could actually get inside the towers from ground level, and this provided a much nicer flow for all of the battles. All of these rooms are pretty barren, just a beam of light and a bed, and then you could also reach, there we go, the top of each of these towers. And through the doors you can get to this tiny plaza, as well as this central spire with a large spiral staircase. And the middle spire, I have to say, I was quite happy with, because if you're standing over here you can overlook basically everything, as well as snipe and shoot at the keep without people on the keep being able to shoot back at you, which was a large advantage. Yeah, quite often the battle would sort of move towards the woods and the plains, and naturally the person losing would retreat into the woods. That makes sense. But to make sure that you'd always have a sort of waypoint so you could find your way back to the battlefield quite easily, and just to add more interesting mechanics, we built a graveyard over here. Just very quick, very rustic. There it is. And then after building the graveyard, we also built a bridge and the library, which no, my friend built actually. The library also quite good. You can shoot through those holes without people being able to climb in. And inside the library we have a whole bunch of bookcases, which makes sense, but it was actually a nice place and way to shake off pursuers or to just surprise attack someone. Nice area, good area, the library, I think. And let's see, I think that, no, not yet. I also built this tower from which you can overlook the battlefield again and snipe through these holes. However, there's no obvious way to enter, because the entrance is somewhat hidden. There is a door over here, and if you open it expecting something, but of course the entrance is over here, so you need to open and close the door again. And that leads you in, again, another bed, that leads you into this tower, and you're all good. Now, yeah, at some point we got slightly, I will go back to some of the stuff you'll see here, don't worry. At some point we got slightly tired of fighting on the overworld, and we just wanted to focus on creative building, but we also wanted a place to fight. So this was my friend's idea, and then we worked on it together. We found a cave, we basically filled it with lava, and we built a whole bunch of platforms and staircases and just places to hide behind. And there are also these platforms that move into the rock and then out of it again and over on this side, and oh, it was so good. In fact, there is, yeah, here it is. There is a staircase that leads to sort of the rocky cave part. So if you fall down, you still had a hope of coming back up, or you could just move down here to find a good spot to snipe at your enemy. Oh, it was so good. And yeah, here are the two houses with one bed and the other. So if you ever run a server and you want to have an arena, make sure it looks something like this, because it's amazingly fun. And then we have this creepy statue, which reminds me of the father figure from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Yeah, so that's basically all of the buildings we used for battle. Now some of the more creative stuff. This is something I built after the fact, after the 2 months of trial had ended. My friend sent me the Minecraft map, and I did some building in it in my own spare offline time. I built this nice bridge house, but yeah, that wasn't really part of the server, because it wasn't there back then. Something we did build, or at least my friend built, was this. And I lost the entrance to this, so I had to build my own custom entrance. If we just go down here. So the idea is someone had found an eldritch ancient horror that took his life, his mind, and then sort of grew upwards. So these are the roots of the large structure you saw upstairs there. If we go back up. Now I will show you something my friend worked on, and sadly he couldn't really finish before the server got shut down. Where is it? Yes, over here. I personally think this is one of the coolest things on in this map. So we go all the way down. Just so I don't get lost, I'm gonna use one of these. Okay, now it's just smooth sailing onward, straight onward. This is a large room with some idols dimly illuminated and dimly lit, and it's just It looks so cool. One of the idols' heads has fallen down. All of these crevices and recesses where these idols are standing with faint glow coming from them, it looks so cool, as if the idols and possibly the gods these idols were dedicated to are watching and possibly judging the player. Really, really cool area. Another thing my friend built was this cottage, which belonged to a geomancer or mason or just stone artist. This is the mine where he'd gather his resources, and he'd just build stuff in his garden, basically. Quite nice little area. And then we have this road, which I also built after the fact. But it leads to a mountainy plateau where this cottage was built by my friend. Quite nice. Paintings, large hearth. Table, it's called a table. A table within a slight depression in the room, really quite like that stylistically. And then, back in the day, I'd been watching a lot of Green videos, including the one where he built an inn, and I sort of copied him, not block for block, but the general style I definitely copied, and so yeah, a build heavily inspired by Green, also fully furnished on the inside. But as I think the video is getting a little bit on the long side, I don't think I'm going to show you inside. If you'd like to see more of these videos where I just show a creative world I've worked on, or if you perhaps do want to see the inside of the inn, do let me know in the comments. I am thinking of making more Minecraft videos in the future, so we'll see what I do. We'll see what sort of Minecraft videos I post. I'm having some ideas, we'll basically see what happens. But if you've been watching, thank you for doing so, and I'll see you next time.